I do think that there are athletes in the US that are absolutely doing gray area stuff and are cheating. And yeah, I firmly believe that. Yo, what is going on, guys? Spencer here for another video, a serious video today on a topic that is long overdue to be talked about. This topic is going to be about just doping in the elite running world. And the reason I want to talk about this today is because, unfortunately, as a lot of you guys may know, but if you don't know, a runner by the name of Zane Robertson from New Zealand just got suspended for 8 years for using EPO. So Zane Robertson and his brother Jake Robertson, they were from New Zealand, and they were a really cool story because they moved to Kenya when they were like 16 or 17 years old to train to be one of the best athletes in the world. I think that any young kid at the time thought that they were super cool. They idolized these guys because, like, you know, when you're a young kid, you think Kenya's the best place to be to train, and you wanna be the best, and that they really truly just threw away everything in their lives to move to Kenya and train to be one of the best athletes in the world. So much respect for them at the time. So it's really sad to see an athlete like Zane Robertson get banned for 8 years. He did retire before the ban, but now it's making a lot more sense why he retired, because these ban processes take quite a bit of time. Robertson claimed that he had attended a Kenyan medical facility seeking a COVID-19 vaccination, but was instead treated for COVID-19, which included the administration of EPO. Essentially a complete BS excuse for why he was caught doping. Sort of reminiscent of the Shelby Houlihan Burrito Gate situation, which I'll talk about in a little bit. We don't know how long he was taking EPO. Could have been more on the twilight of his career. He had some late injuries, so maybe he started taking EPO at that time. But in general, it's just another athlete who kind of was based out of Kenya that was doping. It just sucks because you want to believe that people are clean all the time, and you know, it just seems like in running, in elite running, it's just not the case for so many athletes. And I'm not saying that every person who trains out of Kenya dopes, but there's actually a really cool documentary that I'm gonna link down below. It's by the channel Unreported World. It's called The Betrayal of Kenya's Athletes. It's a really cool doc that came out 4 years ago. It's about 25 minutes long, but essentially these reporters go into this Kenyan training camp, and they learn really quickly that it's very easy to find EPO. But I don't want this whole video to be just on the doping issue within Kenya. I also want to kind of talk about the US and what I think is going on a little bit in the US. As someone who trained with a pro group in the past and kind of is in the loop on like the US elite groups and kind of what the whisperings are going around, I feel like I have a cool experience and knowledge that, you know, maybe some people at home don't have. I don't think that people in the US are straight up taking EPO. I think that that's way too risky. And I think USADA does a really good job of testing their athletes consistently. So where I think the issue lies more in the US is gray area substances. So if people aren't familiar with gray area stuff, it's more so things that you shouldn't take and you shouldn't be allowed to take, but if you have a TUE, which is a therapeutic use exemption, you are allowed to take this substance, which is complete bullshit, because you essentially can get like a dirty doctor to write you a prescription that says that you are allowed to take a certain prescription, which would benefit you, but in reality, you don't actually need that. It doesn't help you outside of performance stuff. I've never been drug tested. Unfortunately, I'm not good enough at running to be drug tested. So I'm not in like the USADA drug testing pool, but my girlfriend, Allie, she gets drug tested a lot, like maybe once every 2 months, but it's very random. It can, sometimes it's like literally once and then a week later for her. So every time she gets drug tested, they give you like a piece of paper where you're allowed to write down supplements you're taking, like iron or vitamin D or magnesium, or TUEs that you also might have. And I don't know why the USADA people were so forthcoming with this information to us, but they told us a story about an athlete that is extremely well known in the US circuit. I'm not going to say their name. Essentially, they told us that this athlete had, I think it was like 48 to 54 different items that were either supplements or TUEs that they wrote down on this piece of paper to be exempt from for the test, which is crazy because I feel like if you're taking 48 different supplements / TUEs, then you are really unhealthy, and like you probably shouldn't be a professional runner. But this athlete was one of the best in the country, multiple Olympian. So I was really surprised. I had actually heard that rumor in the past that this specific athlete is able to get a lot of TUEs and, you know, writes down a lot of supplements. But to actually hear that from USADA was wild. And it was really funny that they were just willing to tell us that information. They also told us dirt on other people, but I don't want to use names or anything like that or accuse anyone of doping. Before we get any further into this video, here is Factor. I'm so hungry. Factor! Guys, you know the months are flying by quickly because we're already here talking about my favorite meal, Factor, again. Factor, guys, it hits every time. It's literally never missed. It's my favorite at-home microwavable meal. Super fresh, always healthy, and let's see what we have on the menu tonight. Garlic mushroom chicken thighs. First, guys, you guys know the drill. I'm gonna show you how I prepare my Factor. You can prepare it any way you like, but the easiest way is just stab a couple holes in it, toss it in the nifty microwave. Boom. 2 minutes on the clock, guys. Georgie and I love Factor so much that, to me, it helps so much with making me eat out less. I eat out all the time, and Factor at least hones it in a little bit. It's way cheaper than eating out. Guys, Factor is never frozen, and it's dietitian approved. So chefs approve it, dietitians approve it, so you know when you eat Factor, you're eating something that is very well balanced. That was so easy, guys. You know, if you're an athlete out there, if you're a mother, a father, a child, and you're busy, you've got sports, you've got dance, you've got all these things that you're doing in life, you've got school, Factor is a great way to just get the meal down without having to stress about anything. Head to factor75.com and use code ATHLETESPECIAL50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. I think that doping essentially isn't just black and white. There's this whole gray area of where you can get prescriptions for items. I've heard of people like making themselves absolutely exhausted, not eating for a couple days, and then being able to get prescribed thyroid, which is extremely beneficial. And thyroid's a word you hear a lot in the pro running circuit. There's always speculation on who could potentially be on thyroid that doesn't actually need it. So that's just that's a big one that people talk about all the time. And I think that the Shelby Houlihan situation is a very interesting one too. For a while I was a little scared to talk about it because so many people have such strong positive opinions for her. It's almost like the running world is like a big clique, and you kind of don't want to say the wrong thing about somebody, burn your bridges in some sense. To this day, I don't really know what the deal is with her and Nike. Like, she's still allegedly trains with Bowerman or works out 30 minutes after they're at the track. I've heard from several people that she works out 30 minutes after they do, and she still trains like close by to them. You know, is Nike on their side with that? Like, what's the deal? In my experience with the Brooks Beast, there was never any doping or anything sketchy going on the entire time I was there. And that same year, Josh Kerr got a bronze medal at the Olympics. So that did kind of give me hope and excitement that you can be a clean athlete and still medal at the Olympics. I think it is possible. And I try my best not to be such a pessimist and just like blame success of awesome athletes on doping, because I don't think every athlete out there is doping, but I do think it's very complicated. And I don't think that people who are doping are necessarily terrible people. If you guys read the book, The Secret Race, written by Tyler Hamilton, this very good biker back in the Lance Armstrong era, he wasn't a bad guy at all. And, you know, he feels super shameful that he doped, but it's almost like the system makes you dope. So I wonder if some of these elite groups, you almost get tricked into it. And, you know, if your coach or if your doctor is saying, look, this is going to help you, you need this, and like you have low X or Y, then you need to take this, and you actually get a real prescription for something, then I can understand why you'd be like, well, I'm not doping. I have a prescription for this item. And it's really unfair that is a thing, but at the same time, it can sometimes be more than just the athlete's fault. It can be more of the system's fault. I kind of wish that people who were caught doping would be open to a more healthy dialogue about it, but I can assure you that everyone is talking about people who they think are doping. Everyone quietly has their own opinions, and I don't think people are saying their opinions as much as they should. Again, I'm not trying to step on any toes myself. I may have in this video, but at the same time, I do think that there are athletes in the US that are absolutely doing gray area stuff and are cheating. And yeah, I firmly believe that. If you guys are interested in me kind of just spewing out some of my thoughts on serious topics in the sport of running, comment down below if you want any more topics like this, or if you have anything that you'd like to add to this. Thank you guys for watching this video, and we will have a more fun, upbeat, casual, vloggy type workout thing coming soon. So we'll see you guys soon.